The quiet murmur of nature begins a testament to life by the Mississippi River. The vast expanse of this river has seen stories float by on its surface, stories that have withstood the test of time. In our journey tonight, the river becomes our guide, leading us through the interwoven tales of friendship, adventure, and self-discovery. I'm your host, Ira, and I give you a welcome to another episode of Sleepy Voyages. The vast Mississippi River stretches before us, its waters teeming with life and stories waiting to be told. The mighty river has borne witness to countless tales, but tonight we focus on one of its most iconic chronicles. Huckleberry Finn, often simply called Huck, is a young boy with a spirit that chafes against the confines of civilization. His adventures are not just a journey along the river's length, but also a voyage into the depths of human nature and freedom. Accompanying him is Jim, a man seeking freedom in a world that denies it to him based on the color of his skin. Together, they embark on a raft journey that transcends mere travel. It becomes a quest for understanding, for connection, and above all, for liberty. This is not just a story of physical movement through the American landscape. It's a narrative of internal discovery, where each bend in the river reveals more about the characters than the land itself ever could. They are travelers in the truest sense, not just of distance, but through the complexities of morality, friendship, and societal norms. Their adventures are as unpredictable as the river's current, carrying them into moments of danger, humor, and introspection. So, let the waters of the Mississippi carry us forward as we navigate the timeless tale of Huckleberry Finn and the freedom of the open road. Before we tuck you in tonight, voyagers of the night sky, we have a small but crucial request. As your eyelids grow heavy and the soothing tones of Sleepy Voyages guide you to the realm of dreams, remember the peace, serenity, and comfort that we bring to you every night. Just as a lighthouse guides lost ships in the darkness, your reviews help other restless dreamers find their way to us. By leaving a review and sharing your thoughts on your experience, you are reaching out to other insomniacs lost in the night, guiding them towards restful sleep. Take a moment before you drift away to click on the Leave a Review button on your podcast app. Help us extend our galaxy of tranquility to all those who seek the solace of sound sleep. And once you've done that, feel free to slip back under the covers of our sleep stories, ready to be whisked away on another sleepy voyage. Remember, your stars light the way for others. Every review, every rating helps us create a bigger, more beautiful universe of peace and rest. Widow Douglas's home was a striking contrast to the rambunctious life young Huckleberry Finn was accustomed to. The house, nestled by the edge of town, was both grand and imposing, standing tall with its white wooden panels and dark shingled roof. Inside, its rooms echoed with silence, punctuated only by the occasional ticking of a grandfather clock or the soft shuffle of housemaid Miss Watson's feet on the polished floorboards. Huckleberry often found himself out of place amid the pristine surroundings. The ornate rugs were foreign to his bare feet, and the stiff back chairs didn't feel quite right after a lifetime of lounging on the riverbank. Every meal was an event in itself. Silver cutlery gleamed under candlelight. China plates bore the finest of dishes. And Huck, he was expected to eat in silence, with all the manners of a gentleman. The widow meant well. Her intent was to civilize Huck, to offer him a life removed from the hardships of the streets and the unpredictability of the river. She tried to instill in him the values of religion, sending him off to Sunday school and ensuring he said his nightly prayers. Yet every night, as Huck lay in his soft bed with its crisp, clean sheets, he would gaze out of the window. The stars beckoned to him, each one a reminder of the freedom he once had. His days were filled with lessons on reading, writing, and arithmetic, concepts foreign and to Huck somewhat pointless. While the widow showered him with kindness and care, the confines of the house felt like a cage to Huckleberry. His spirit, wild as the winds of the Mississippi, yearned for the adventures beyond the walls, where the sky was the limit and the world was his to explore. The stringent rules, the schedules, the very structure of life within those four walls, while comforting to some, were suffocating for a young boy who once danced with the wind and swam with the currents. In essence, the widow's home, with all its comforts and luxuries, was a gilded cage for Huckleberry Finn, and the song of the river was a constant siren call, beckoning him back to the world he once knew. In the heart of St. Petersburg, a quaint Missouri town, Huckleberry Finn found himself entangled in a web of societal norms and traditions. The townspeople had rigid beliefs and standards, which they upheld with unyielding vigor. Boys of Huck's age were expected to attend school, don their Sunday best, and be models of propriety and discipline. Huck, with his wild spirit and unyielding sense of freedom, often felt the weight of these expectations pressing down on him. School was a particular challenge. With its strict schedules, hard wooden benches, and the ever-watchful eye of the schoolmaster, it represented everything Huck rebelled against. More than the confines of a classroom, Huck grappled with the town's broader expectations. He was often met with disapproving glances and clucking tongues, especially after one of his many misadventures. Widow Douglas, kind-hearted and well-meaning, took Huck in with hopes of civilizing him. She envisioned a transformed Huck, polished, literate, and God-fearing. However, to Huck, her home became another cage. The stiff collars, the scriptures at dusk, the monotonous ticking of the mantelpiece clock, all these became symbols of a life he didn't choose. Huck longed for the days when his feet would touch the cool mud by the riverbanks, and the wind would rustle through his unkempt hair. He yearned for the open road, where the only expectations he had to meet were those he set for himself. The town's standards were not just superficial, they were deeply ingrained. Racism, classism, and other prejudices were fixtures of the society Huck lived in. It was a community where the color of one's skin determined worth, and where societal hierarchy was accepted without question. For a boy with an inherent sense of justice and fairness, these social norms became more chains to break free from. In this turbulent backdrop, the Mississippi River beckoned. To Huck, it was more than just a body of water. It represented freedom, adventure, and an escape from the stifling conventions of society. In the sleepy town of St. Petersburg, where boys daydreamed of pirates and buried treasure, an ominous shadow lurked in Huck's life. This shadow was none other than Pap Finn, Huck's father. An unkempt figure, Pap was a stark contrast to the well-dressed townsfolk. His tattered clothes and scruffy beard hinted at a life marked by neglect and indifference. The town's children would whisper about him, spinning tales of his drunken escapades and erratic behavior. But for Huck, these stories weren't mere tales. They were the painful truths of his daily existence. Pap Finn was a man chained by his vices, predominantly alcohol. His unpredictable mood swung from a slurred geniality to a fierce, bubbling rage at a moment's notice. More often than not, he emerged from the shadows to claim Huck's money, fearing that his son might rise above his own lowly status. It was a bitter irony. While others saw potential in the young boy, his own father seemed to resent it. Instead of encouragement and guidance, Huck received scorn and physical blows. The shackles of this relationship were not of iron, but were equally confining. They were chains of expectation, of society's dictates, and of a paternal bond that had gone awry. Yet amidst this gloom, there was a resilience in Huck. He refused to be broken or molded into an image of his father. Every bruise, every harsh word, only steeled his determination to break free. The open road, with its promise of freedom, beckoned. There's an urgency that grows deep within the human spirit when it yearns for freedom. Huckleberry Finn was no stranger to this pull. Young Huck, tired of the confines and constraints of civilized life, felt a yearning deep in his bones. With Widow Douglas's attempts to civilize him proving unbearable, and the threat of his no-good father ever looming, escape became not a mere wish, but a necessity. Wearing his old tattered clothes, Huck, in the stealth of the night, made his quiet exit from the widow's home. Every step he took away from St. Petersburg was a step towards the freedom he sought. Imagine the moonlight guiding him, the soft chirping of night insects his only company. The world seemed larger at night, more expansive, echoing the vastness of Huck's dreams and desires. His carefully plotted ruse was simple yet effective, faking his own demise. The idea was to ensure that nobody would come searching for him, allowing him the full breadth of his newfound freedom. The genius of his escape plan lay not just in the faked scene of a violent confrontation in his room, but in its emotional effectiveness. By making it appear as though he had been brutally taken from this world, he hoped to ensure that those searching for him would soon give up, thinking the worst had occurred. The river beckoned him, a symbol of moving forward, of progression, and of unfettered freedom. He stumbles upon a canoe and sees it as the universe aligning with his purpose. Using this canoe, he drifts down to Jackson's Island, a place of solitude, safety, and serenity. On Jackson's Island, he would have the room to breathe, to live, and to be free. Away from societal judgments and restrictions, here, Huck could be himself, truly himself, for the first time. Every stroke of the paddle, every ripple in the water was a testament to Huck's desire to find his own path, his own destiny. The open water, the gentle sway of the canoe, the crisp night air, all elements that whispered of adventures yet to come. This was not just an escape from society's chains, but a journey towards self-discovery. For now, he was free, and that feeling was more intoxicating than any joy he had ever known. Jackson Island, lying amidst the mighty Mississippi, was an oasis of calm and serenity. The dense foliage on the island stood as green sentinels, protecting any intruder from the prying eyes of the outside world. The soft chirps of the crickets created a lulling symphony, almost nature's very own lullaby. There was an untouched purity about this place, a haven for any weary traveler or runaway like Huck. The sun painted the island's sands and soils with golden hues during the day, while the moon showered it with silvery grace by night. The Mississippi's waters around the island whispered tales of age-old secrets and timeless adventures. Tall trees, with their leafy canopies, provided ample shade and a comfortable retreat from the sun's intensity. Walking barefoot, one could feel the coolness of the moist ground beneath, and occasionally the playful tug of the river's tide at the toes. The isolation of the island was its true charm, offering a sanctuary where thoughts could roam freely, unburdened by societal judgments. Every gentle breeze that wafted through seemed to carry with it the sweet promises of freedom and the open road. The occasional splash of a fish jumping in the river or the distant call of a bird only added to the island's tranquility. For anyone escaping the shackles of the conventional world, Jackson Island was not just a place, it was a serene state of mind. It was here that Huck found solace, letting the island's serene embrace heal the wounds of his troubled past. And in the very heart of this paradise, unbeknownst to Huck, was about to emerge a familiar face, marking the beginning of an extraordinary partnership. With Jackson Island as a canvas painted with serenity, Huck embraced a solitude he believed was his alone. The isle, guarded by the Mississippi's majestic waters, held tall trees, their branches swaying rhythmically, and the soft chirping of hidden creatures. It was an untouched haven where young Finn sought refuge from the chaos and expectations of civilization. However, this tranquility was soon to be shared. One day, while Huck was exploring the island, he stumbled upon an all-too-familiar face. Amid the gentle rustling of leaves and the occasional call of a distant bird, he heard a soft humming, a tune he recognized. Treading lightly, he moved closer and found none other than Jim, Miss Watson's slave. Jim, who had been sunning himself, leapt up in surprise, initially scared out of his wits. He'd been hiding on Jackson Island since his escape from Miss Watson, who planned to sell him down the river. The news struck Huck like a thunderbolt. Here they both were, outlaws in their own right, hiding from the very society that had entwined their fates. Though unexpected, Jim's presence on the island was a revelation for Huck. This encounter transformed his solitary refuge into a shared escape, one where two souls, each escaping their chains, found camaraderie. Both yearned for freedom, though of different kinds. Huck from the confines of society and its suffocating norms, and Jim from the tangible chains of slavery and the impending doom of being sold. The island became more than just a hideaway. It became a microcosm of shared hopes and dreams. The vast expanse of the river, flowing unburdened, served as a backdrop to this newfound partnership. With the waters bearing witness, their bond deepened, and the island became the bedrock of a journey neither had anticipated, but both desperately needed. As days blended into nights, Jim recounted tales from his past, of loved ones, and times when the chains of servitude weighed him down. Huck listened intently, his previous naive perceptions of Jim reshaping. This man, who once was just Miss Watson's Jim, evolved into a deeply layered individual with dreams, fears, and stories that tugged at the heart. Together, they fortified their island sanctuary, gathering provisions and securing hiding spots, unaware that the currents of the Mississippi were soon to sweep them into an adventure that would challenge their beliefs, morals, and the very essence of freedom they so deeply sought. When the societal ties that bind are loosened, the raw, genuine nature of humanity often reveals itself. Nowhere was this more evident than on Jackson Island, where two escapees, both trying to leave behind their past, found solace in the company of one another. While their backgrounds and stories differed, their desire to be free united them. But as time passed, the grandeur of nature and the wilderness around them began to overshadow these hesitations. Surrounded by the whispering trees and the stillness of the island, societal prejudices began to melt away. It wasn't long before the duo recognized that their combined strengths far outweighed their individual fears. Together, they could watch out for danger, hunt for food, and navigate the mighty Mississippi. And in this budding partnership, a raft, a seemingly simple wooden structure, became their beacon of hope. Underneath the shade of the trees, with their hands worn from work but hearts light with hope, they constructed their vessel. Every plank they placed and every rope they tied symbolized not just the raft's physical form, but also their strengthening bond. The raft's completion marked their first nights on the river, As the wooden structure swayed with the river's rhythm, so did their tales and shared dreams. Under the veil of the night, with stars as their only witness, their stories flowed, uninterrupted and untamed. The freedom of the open river reflected the freedom of their hearts, and the whispers of the water echoed the dreams of two souls bound by a journey of discovery. In those tranquil nights, the Mississippi didn't just carry a raft. It bore the dreams of two individuals who, despite the world's constraints, dared to envision a horizon of endless possibilities. In the shade of the tall, robust trees that lined the Mississippi, Jim and Huck came upon an idea that would offer them not just escape, but freedom: the decision to build a raft. The process began with searching for logs that had drifted ashore, bearing the marks of their own journeys, some rough with jagged edges, others worn smooth by the river's caress. Each log told a story, and as they were bound together, their tales intertwined to become a collective narrative of resilience and hope. As Huck and Jim laid each log side by side, they were not just constructing a raft, but laying the foundation for the adventures that lay ahead. Jim, with his vast knowledge of the river and its ways, took the lead. His hands, hardened by years of work, maneuvered each timber with precision. His eyes, sharp and focused, ensured that every knot tied was secure, every plank was sturdy. Jim's expertise was evident in every meticulous detail, from the way he chose the logs to the manner in which he sealed the spaces between them. Huck, though younger and less experienced, was an eager apprentice. His youthful enthusiasm combined with Jim's wisdom made for a dynamic duo. He listened intently to Jim's instructions, absorbing every bit of knowledge. As he swung the axe, drove in nails, or tightened a rope, he did so with the fervor of someone who recognized the importance of their task. It wasn't just about escaping his father or the societal norms of St. Petersburg. It was about carving a path to a life that offered true freedom. Together they labored for days. The sun painted their skins with its golden hues, and their muscles ached with fatigue. Yet the pain was overshadowed by the anticipation of the journey ahead. Each evening, as they rested by the fireside, the silhouette of the near-complete raft stood as a testament to their shared vision and unwavering commitment. For Jim and Huck, this raft was not just a means of transport. It was the heart of their journey, a vessel carrying dreams, aspirations, and most importantly, the spirit of freedom. The moon was but a silver sliver in the sky, casting a luminescent glow over the tranquil waters of the Mississippi. The gentle slosh of water against their handmade raft was the only reminder that they were not yet on solid ground. The vast expanse of water and sky seemed to meld into one, and the distant stars glittered like tiny fireflies. Huck and Jim, having found their rhythm together, began to settle into their makeshift life on the river. Each night, as darkness blanketed the world around them, the two would huddle close to their small campfire, its flames dancing merrily, contrasting with the somber stillness of the river's depths. The scent of roasted fish, freshly caught from the day's bounty, would waft into the night air. Jim, with his wealth of tales and songs from his past, would occasionally hum a tune. It was a haunting melody, filled with the melancholy of lost love and the hope of future days. Huck, ever the keen listener, would allow Jim's voice to wash over him, absorbing every note, every inflection. They didn't always need words. On a particularly serene night, as the stars gleamed down with celestial clarity, Huck and Jim's raft silently made its way on the placid waters. Yet, it was this silence, this deceptive calmness, that would soon be disrupted. Not far off, An obscure shadow loomed. As they approached, the shadow began to take shape, the unmistakable form of a steamboat, though there was something amiss. The ship was tilted, its chimney stacks no longer puffing smoke towards the heavens. It had met with some unfortunate fate and was now partially submerged in the water, like a wounded creature seeking refuge. Their initial response was one of caution. Steamboats, after all, were symbols of civilization and authority, things that Huck and Jim had been trying to evade. However, the spirit of adventure that constantly fueled Huck's decisions compelled him to explore. With careful movements, they tethered their raft and climbed aboard the sinking vessel. The boat groaned under its weight, its wooden panels creaking, echoing the melancholy of its downfall. Every step felt like a walk into the unknown. They moved silently, hoping not to stumble upon any unwanted remnants of the steamboat's past. What followed was an eerie experience. Abandoned possessions, a lavish dining area now in disarray, and cabins that held stories of those who once traveled on this magnificent vessel. The cold, hard fact of mortality and the vulnerability of man-made wonders became overwhelmingly apparent. In the heart of the boat, they discovered robbers, debating over their ill-gotten gains. This posed a new challenge, but also an opportunity. Huck, using his wit and quick thinking, managed to outmaneuver the robbers and secure some treasures for himself. However, it wasn't about the treasures. This encounter, like many others on their journey, served as a reminder of the unpredictable nature of life. Just like the river, with its twists and turns, calm stretches, and tumultuous rapids, life's course can be altered in an instant. For Huck and Jim, the steamboat was not merely an obstacle, but a lesson. It was a testament to the transient nature of existence and the importance of cherishing freedom, relationships, and the open road before them. The vast Mississippi River, with its countless meanders and powerful flow, has an uncanny ability to keep secrets. While the river often provided Huck and Jim with a sense of freedom and sanctuary, its open waters also presented unexpected threats. The sun was beginning its descent, casting the river in a warm golden hue. Every ripple and wavelet on the surface gleamed with reflected light. Huck and Jim were now experienced river travelers. Their raft, made of sturdy logs and makeshift shelter, became both home and transport, symbolic of their aspiration for freedom. But with freedom often comes danger. There were those who saw Jim not as a man yearning for liberty, but as a piece of property, a runaway slave with a price on his head. Bounty hunters, eager to cash in on Jim's capture, were on the prowl. These men were driven by monetary gain, indifferent to the plight of those like Jim. One particularly tense day, two unfamiliar men approached their raft. Their sharp eyes scanned it, looking for signs of the runaway. Huck, quick-witted as ever, spun a tale to keep Jim hidden. He spoke of a sick family member, using the fear of illness to deter these strangers. While the ruse worked for the moment, it was a reminder that their journey was rife with peril at every bend. It was more than just the fear of capture. It was a confrontation with the society they were escaping from. Each encounter with such hunters was not merely a brush with danger, but a challenge to their determination and wits. They were being tested, not just by nature, but by mankind. For Huck and Jim, each day brought new lessons, reaffirming that while freedom was their destination, the journey itself, with its trials and tribulations, was equally significant. Beneath the seemingly endless canopy of the southern sky, alongside the vast Mississippi, lay two of the region's prominent families, the Grangerfords and the Shepherdsons. Their grand estates, adorned with intricate designs, echoed the affluence and grandeur of aristocratic Southern life. But under this veneer of respectability, both families hid a dark secret, an unending cycle of vengeance that had consumed them for generations. It was during one of Huck's adventures ashore that he found himself taken in by the Grangerfords, witnessing firsthand the opulence of their lifestyle. The Grangerfords, with their majestic home filled with ornate furnishings and portraits of stern ancestors, stood in stark contrast to the freedom of the river. While the family was kind and hospitable to him, Huck couldn't help but notice an undercurrent of tension. This tension was palpable, like a low rumble of thunder on an otherwise sunny day. Colonel Grangerford, the head of the family, was a tall, commanding figure. His presence was felt not just within the walls of his home, but throughout the community. His children, particularly a young lady named Emmeline, left a lasting impression on Huck. Emmeline, a girl with a penchant for the morose, often wrote tributes for those who had passed on. The poetic lamentations she penned were filled with melancholy, reflecting the general sentiment of a family forever ensnared in a bitter feud. The origins of the animosity between the Grangerfords and Shepherdsons were buried in the sands of time. No one truly remembered what started it all, yet the cycle of vengeance was perpetuated with every generation. Gunshots rang out without warning. Young men from both families would mysteriously disappear, their fates known but seldom spoken about, adding another chapter to the tragic tale of these feuding families. While the Grangerfords offered Huck a temporary refuge, the wild currents of the Mississippi beckoned him. His time with the family provided a glimpse into the deep-seated vendettas that can plague even the most refined societies. The juxtaposition of the open, uninhibited river against the constricting ties of revenge served as a vivid reminder. True freedom isn't just the ability to move unhindered. It's also the freedom from the chains of the past, from generational grudges, and from societal expectations. One fateful day, amidst the green woods, a tragic event unfolded. The Grangerfords' young daughter, Sophia, and a young shepherdson, Harney, had been secretly seeing each other, reminiscent of the star-crossed lovers, Romeo and Juliet. Their clandestine affair was the kindling to a flame that rapidly engulfed both families in a renewed cycle of violence. The tragic climax of their feud was inevitable, yet its toll was heart-wrenching. The shores of the Mississippi had witnessed countless tales, some jubilant and some sorrowful. The story of the Grangerfords and Shepherdsons was but one among them, a tale that served as a somber reflection on the chains that bind and the freedom that eludes. In the heart of Mark Twain's sprawling narrative along the winding Mississippi, we encounter two of the story's most colorful and questionable characters, the Duke and the Dauphin. Their sudden appearance on the raft introduces an era of trickery and deceit that shakes the previously established harmony between Huck and Jim. The Duke and the Dauphin are con artists. In a world where survival often depends on wit and improvisation, these two men take deception to an entirely new level. Without a moral compass, they weave tales and spin lies effortlessly, even falsely presenting themselves as royalty. The audacity of their claims is almost laughable, yet their conviction can sometimes be unnervingly compelling. When the Duke and the Dauphin get involved in the world of theatre, Huck and Jim are unwillingly pulled into their web of scams. The theatre, a place of drama, fantasy, and illusion, becomes a playground for their antics. Their productions, if they can be called that, are a slapdash collection of scenes, hastily thrown together and often making little sense. Despite this, they do hold an audience, albeit through false pretenses and exaggerated marketing tactics. One such theatrical scam that stands out is the Royal Nonsuch. The Duke, with a flair for the dramatic, describes the play as a thrilling experience for the audience. The townspeople, driven by curiosity and the promise of an unparalleled performance, rushed to the makeshift theatre. However, what they witness is nothing short of a baffling spectacle. The culmination of the Duke and Dauphin's deception leaves the audience feeling cheated and ridiculed. Yet amidst all this deception, there are moments of genuine reflection for our protagonist. Huck, young and impressionable, witnesses the extents to which humans can go to deceive and exploit others. These encounters with the Duke and the Dauphin bring forward a deeper understanding of the complexities of human nature and the shades of grey that exist between right and wrong. In many ways, the antics of the Duke and the Dauphin serve as a mirror to the world outside. They remind us that the journey of life is not just about the destinations we reach or the paths we choose, but also about the people we meet along the way. Some may challenge our beliefs, some may deceive us, and others might just make us question the very essence of what it means to be free. The open road, with all its freedom, also brings with it encounters that can shape our character. The adventures with the Duke and the Dauphin, though fraught with deceit, also serve as a rite of passage for Huck, giving him a richer understanding of the world and his place in it. The vast river, which had been their guiding force, was suddenly shrouded in a dense veil, obscuring the familiar sights and sounds of their travels. It was as if the world had paused, enveloped in a mysterious grey cloud. The mist curled and danced around them, its fingers reaching out, making the vast expanse seem intimate and close. Time seemed to slow, and for a moment, the rhythmic lapping of the water against the raft was the only sound piercing through the heavy silence. Jim, usually animated with stories and observations, was hushed, his eyes wide, taking in the otherworldly atmosphere. This was not just any fog, it was a reminder of nature's unpredictability. Even as they were forging their path on the river, nature had its own plans, its own rhythms. The fog served as a metaphor for the uncertainties that lay ahead. With limited visibility, Huck and Jim became more reliant on each other. They navigated by intuition, feeling their way through the dense air, the bond between them growing stronger with each paddle stroke. Huck's internal struggle becomes central at this juncture. The societal rules he had been raised with told him that helping a runaway slave was wrong, but his heart and personal experiences painted a completely different story. Jim wasn't just an escaped slave to Huck. He was a friend, a mentor, and a fellow voyager on the vast river of life. The capture of Jim serves as a poignant reminder of the harsh realities of the world Huck and Jim navigated. It also underscores the contrasting freedoms they both sought, Huck from the societal constraints, and Jim from the literal and metaphorical chains of slavery. However, adversity, as it often does, paved the way for moments of brilliance, courage, and unyielding spirit. This incident sets the stage for further adventure, unwavering camaraderie, and a deep examination of personal values versus societal norms. The serene drift of Huck was disturbed when he discovered that Jim was captured. This news gripped Huck with a mix of fear and determination. The complexities of the situation were clear. Jim was not only his partner in adventure, but also a friend who shared dreams, fears, and starlit conversations by the riverbank. The weight of Jim's situation bore heavily on Huck. The boy, often guided by his intuition, felt a moral compulsion. It was not about society's definition of right or wrong. Rather, it was about the pull of his heart, his understanding of human connection and decency. Huck, with a mind teeming with strategies and a spirit full of zeal, devised a rescue plan. The boy's resourcefulness was evident in his approach. He observed the surroundings of where Jim was being held, considered potential allies, and kept in mind the possible challenges. But it wasn't just the external barriers that tested Huck. He grappled with internal conflicts, questioning the morality of his decisions. Yet, in this whirlwind of strategy and moral quandary, another familiar face emerged: Tom Sawyer. Tom, with his own brand of theatrics, introduced an elaborate, whimsical, and at times impractical scheme to free Jim. His plan, filled with romantic notions of adventure and heroism, seemed to be drawn straight from the pages of his beloved adventure novels. This stark contrast between Huck's practical, heart-driven approach and Tom's fanciful theatrics painted a vivid picture of the journey. It wasn't just about the physical path they were on, but also about the journey of understanding, of friendship, and of grappling with society's flawed morals. As the tale unfolds, the Mississippi River's continuous flow mirrors the narrative. The challenges Huck faces are not just about freeing Jim, but also about understanding freedom in all its complexities, the freedom to choose, to feel, to be driven by the heart, and the courage to act upon it. While the story evokes various emotions, it ultimately converges on the essence of human bonds, of right versus wrong, and the lengths one would go to for a friend. In the dimming twilight of their shared escapades, the voyage down the Mississippi River draws to its poignant end. It isn't merely the cessation of an adventure, but a culmination of profound realizations, personal growth, and the promise of novel beginnings. Jim's long-sought freedom was not merely a quest to break free from the chains of servitude, but was a testament to the human spirit's ceaseless yearning for dignity, equality, and liberty. Every stroke of the paddle, every rush of the river, and every quiet night on the raft was a symbol of his unyielding hope. The time comes when Jim's status as a free man is finally revealed. Miss Watson had passed away, freeing Jim in her will. It's a poignant moment, a mix of joy and sadness, where the price of freedom is felt deeply. And yet, it is a reminder that sometimes, after a long, winding journey, our destination might just be where we began, but with a newfound understanding. Amidst the celebration of Jim's freedom, there emerges another narrative strand, one involving young Tom Sawyer. Tom had been wounded during the audacious plan to rescue Jim, a plan born more out of romantic adventure than necessity. As he recovers, there's an air of maturity, perhaps a glimpse of understanding about the weight of choices and the complexities of life. During this time, Huck is informed of his late father's demise and subsequently discovers that he has inherited a significant sum of money. This inheritance, however, is not just material. It's also an inheritance of experiences, lessons, and the indomitable spirit of freedom that characterized their journey. The Mississippi, with its winding courses and open expanses, had been a nurturer of dreams and aspirations. But as with every chapter in life, the allure of new horizons beckons. The West, with its untamed wildness and uncharted territories, calls out to Huck. The open road is not just a path of soil and stone. It's an emblem of limitless possibilities, infinite adventures, and the ever-present challenge of the unknown. As Huck contemplates leaving the societal constraints once more, we're reminded that sometimes freedom is not just about breaking chains, but about pursuing the unknown, about embracing the uncertain future with open arms, and about continuously seeking spaces where the spirit feels most alive. The Mississippi River, winding its way through the heart of America, has been a testament to time and change. To many, it's just a geographical landmark, but to Huck and Jim, it was a living, breathing entity, a force of nature that shaped their destinies. And while the river in The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn flows effortlessly, it is also fierce and unpredictable, much like life itself. When we take a moment to contemplate this river as a metaphor, it reveals the truths about our existence. The river doesn't differentiate, it moves forward, taking along with it the good and the bad. Just as the river holds its course, so do we continue forward, adapting, learning, and growing from every experience. For Huck, the river was an escape, a way to break free from the confines of a society that didn't understand him. It wasn't just a geographical shift, it was a journey into the depths of his soul, where he faced moral dilemmas, discovered the intricacies of human relationships, and learned the real meaning of freedom. The river taught him resilience. It taught him to steer clear of obstructions, to find his way when lost in fog, and to appreciate the calm after the storm. Nature, in its vastness, often holds a mirror to our souls. The trees that stand tall teach us the virtue of patience. The winds that can be both gentle and fierce remind us of our ever-changing moods and emotions. And the river, in its perpetual flow, represents our life's journey, filled with its ebbs and flows, highs and lows. Every twist, turn, or obstacle faced is an opportunity for introspection and understanding. Just as the river shapes the landscape around it, our experiences mold our character. Whether it's a challenging situation at work, a personal loss, or a moment of joy, each experience contributes to our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. To navigate through life, like Huck and Jim navigated the Mississippi, requires the wisdom to recognize the moments that define us and the strength to move forward with the lessons they impart. Embracing the journey, acknowledging the challenges, and celebrating the victories paves the way for a deeper understanding of oneself and an appreciation of the freedom of the open road. Throughout the grand tapestry of the adventures of Huckleberry Finn, freedom emerges as a persistent theme. This raw, unbridled liberty intertwines itself not only around our protagonists, Huck and Jim, but it also extends an invitation for us to reflect upon its many facets in our lives. Huck and Jim, both entangled in their own societal chains, sought solace and liberation upon the expansive Mississippi. For Huck, freedom was escaping the confines of his domesticated life, one that was fraught with lessons, expectations, and the overbearing nature of those around him. His youthful spirit yearned for the untamed, for days without the rigidity of schedules or the suffocating walls of society. Jim, on the other hand, dreamed of freedom from the literal chains of slavery, a deeper, more profound freedom where he could embrace his own destiny, make choices for his family, and lead a life where his humanity was recognized and honored. Their journeys, though different in cause, were parallel in spirit. And isn't that similar to our modern quests? Each of us has our own definition of freedom. For some, it might be breaking away from a mundane routine, while for others it could be finding our voice amidst the chaos. Or perhaps it's the pursuit of a passion long stifled by responsibility. Like the flow of the Mississippi, freedom is both vast and varied, shaping itself according to the heart that seeks it. Life, in all its unpredictability, mirrors the Mississippi's currents, sometimes gentle, allowing us to leisurely drift, and at times wild, urging us to clutch onto our rafts tighter. But isn't that where the magic truly lies? In the acceptance that we cannot control every ripple or rapid, but what we can do is trust the journey. So as you lie there, perhaps you can take a leaf out of Huck and Jim's book, trust in your journey, embrace the currents of life, knowing that each wave, no matter how daunting, carves you, shapes you, and sets you on a path, uniquely yours. The river of life is vast and endless, and all it asks of you is to trust its course. Imagine yourself standing by the Mississippi riverbank. The sun has just set, casting the world in a gentle twilight glow. Listen. You can hear the soft rush of water flowing. Feel the rhythmic motion of the raft undulating with the waves. Let the sound and motion merge, becoming a soothing rhythm, anchoring your thoughts. With each inhale, breathe in the freshness of nature, the serenity of the river, and the freedom that it offers. Let the air fill your lungs, reviving every fiber of your being. Exhale slowly. As you breathe out, release any tension, any worries, and any burdens you carry. Feel them get washed away with the river's gentle current. Let your breath sink with nature's lullaby, inviting tranquility into your mind and body. As the world around you grows darker, visualize a campfire on a sandy riverbank. The flames dance and shadows play upon the water's surface. There, beside the campfire, you see Huck and Jim. They're talking, laughing, sharing tales of their journey. Join them. Take a moment to bask in their camaraderie. Feel the warmth of the fire on your skin. Hear the river flowing endlessly in the background, echoing stories of timeless adventures and endless horizons. Lift your gaze to the vast expanse above. The night sky over the Mississippi is a canvas of twinkling stars. They shimmer like diamonds, reflecting upon the gentle ripples of the water. The vastness of the river and the boundlessness of the sky remind you of infinite possibilities. Every story has a heart, and the heart of Huckleberry Finn's adventure is the eternal quest for freedom. As you drift closer to the realm of dreams, carry with you the spirit of the open road, the freedom that Huck and Jim sought, and the endless possibilities that lie ahead in your own journey. Tonight, as you find rest, let the waters of the Mississippi guide you. Let them inspire you to dream of vast horizons and the freedom of the open road. Sleep soundly, and may you wake up refreshed, with the spirit of adventure rejuvenating your soul. Good night, dear voyagers.